Now, when you first apply the MoGraph array tool, it'll be set to line mode on self. Let's take a look at the various array options we have up here. We click here, we can see we have the option for a grid, a circle, which also allows us to add rings, just like this, and we have plenty of other options we'll go through. We have a mesh surface, which we will get to later, and then we also have the option to go along a curve. Let's start on the line options here. Let's take a look at the instancing options we have first. By default, it will go to self, but you can also choose another object. Here I've chosen the object 3 and the scene there. You can also choose a collection. So if I come up here and choose my array collection I have created, you'll see that it is doing all the objects in the collection there. Now you can choose to pick the instance or have it do everything on top of itself. Useful if you're doing character animations with a rig. But you can see here that we actually have the option here to do the iterate or random. So within the scene, I actually have it set up so that we have 1, 2, 3, just like that. So if I turn back on my array system here, you can see it's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but we can also set it to random with our objects as well. For now, I'm going to return to the self. Below that, we have the option to realize instances. This will get rid of the instances and make it viewed as mesh, which can break some other effects. So I really only recommend doing this at the end of your effect pipeline. Below this, we have the count and all of the transform controls. Now, we also have gizmos on several of these that allow you to adjust there. For example, we can adjust the count up there, adjust the position or stuff from the gizmo there as well, or you can enter those in over here. For the line tool, we have relative, meaning relative to the object's shape there. We can offset it and set some manual values there, or we can go based off of a length and how long we want the total array to be. And below that, we have options for the Y and Z distance as well. Next up, we have the rotation. Now, if I rotate here, you can see that all objects will rotate the same increment. Here I have it 26 degrees on the Z. But we can also do this incremental. And if I do a smaller value there, you can see how it's progressing across the entire array. We have this for all fields here. Now down here, we have the option to scale as well. So let's say we want to make this a little bit taller. And here we can do incremental as well. You can see how it will get taller over time. There's a scale minimum, a scale maximum, and then a multiplier to exaggerate the effect. And then lastly down here, we have the option to check on and apply a single material to the entire array. You want to do something different than what is on the object itself. This is an override. Now we're excited that we have the inclusion of a grid array as well without having to stack a bunch of arrays. Now you'll see here you have the same options for self, object, and collection, but we now have new options here for the count along each axis. So if I wanted to add a few on each of these, I can then come down here and adjust my distance to make a little bit more room for all of those. Down here, you can see we can set the distance between each axis of the array. We have the endpoint and offset option. Again, we have constant and incremental options for the rotation on both the scale and rotation values here. We also have a gizmo that allows you to stretch out the transforms here. And it also makes it so that you can scale things and use the rotation here as well too. Now you'll notice here down at the bottom, we also have an option to do a material override again. Just know that this is available on all array modes. Now our radial circle array is one I'm very excited about because although there are circle arrays, ours has the ability to add additional rings. And we also have a lot of options with these rings as well. You can adjust the amount of rings. You can adjust how many rings you add to each point as it grows. You can adjust that amount manually here as well. And if you're setting a particular high count, for example, let's say 25 here, we actually have a distance point to merge where you can turn this up and merge points that get too close to each other to kind of try and clean up some of your more complex radial arrays. Now we have the option here for a circle radius and determining the size of the inside circle radius. But then we also have controls here to adjust the distance offset from the center and some other controls here so you can adjust the spread of all the rings and get exactly the look you're going for. Now here you'll notice here we have a trim circle, which allows you to trim that circle to whatever degree you want. Now down here we have a follow curve rotation, which will automatically make everything follow the rotation of the curve you have set there, and you can choose the curve normal. We also have the options to, again, use constant and increment on your rotations here. If you'd like to rotate everything 15 degrees or have it done incrementally and create some interesting patterns. And we also have the same options for scale with constant and incremental. Likewise, we also have the instancing options of self object collection, just like all of our other arrays so far. Now, when you apply mesh surface on the MoGraph array, you might notice your object disappears. That's because you need to determine a surface mesh. I'm going to select a torus I have in my scene. You can see now we're populating our cube across that torus. Again, we have the options for self, object, and collection. But let's focus on the new mesh mode options we have here. First, we have the ability to hide or show the mesh underneath. Then down here, we can choose the component. Vertices, edges, and faces are self-explanatory, and we also have rotation modes here that are constant, allowing us to adjust everything down here, or mesh normal. And you can still make adjustments down here, but you have the ability to match the mesh normal and align based on axis. Now, all the transform controls down here work just as before. I can set 30 degrees and rotate everything at once, or I can make it incremental as well. Same thing for our scale values. Now, one thing I'm particularly excited about is the exposure here of the surface and the volume option. So if I come here to surface, you can see that I am spawning all along the surface here. Down here, I now have distribution options. By default, it's set to random, and I can set the density random across this object and play with the seeds. Of course, I still have the transform options down here, but I love this option here with Poisson disk because what this allows me to do is set a distance minimum, making sure that none of my objects are colliding into one another. And you can see that we also have density max controls down here as well. Now, the last option is the one I'm most excited about for the mesh surface, which is the volume. This allows you to just fill out the inside of the object with whatever objects you've chosen. Here you can see on random mode, I can just set the density and it will randomly fill out that volume. Or I can switch to grid mode and get precise control over these objects. Now, what the distance offset is doing is shrinking or growing the volume of the object there. And you can see with the right spacing options, you can almost create a Lego-like look with this simple cube. This is a really powerful option, and I'm excited to see what people create with this. Now, when using the curve array mode, you may notice that your object disappears. You just need to make sure you have a curve selected, and then it will reappear. Now, if your curve is not set to the origin point, it can sometimes cause the array to break. So I recommend that you keep your curve centered at the origin point when adding the effect. If you want to move it, what I recommend is after applying the array, grab your curve, grab the array, and you can parent those together and then move that around with no issues. Here at the top, you can see that under instancing, we have our usual controls as expected. Down here under the curve mode options, you can see we have the option for instance on points, which will put one on every point of the curve object. And here you can set the trim curve start or the trim curve ending as well. You can also offset infinitely along the curve. Here you have the option for count, which allows you to set the exact amount. Here I'm going to set 50, and then we have those same options here. Now below we have the transform options as you've grown to expect, except we have a few extras here for the curve. So for one, you can offset off the position of the curve if you like. Again, we have the rotation options where you can set both a constant or an incremental change across it. Here you can change the axis orientation of your object along the curve. And then down here, we have the options for constant and incremental with our scale. Now, the great thing about this array system is that it's completely compatible with all the MoGraph Toolbox fields and fall-offs, meaning that you can use this to create an infinite amount of effects and awesome MoGraph animations.